Maverick Physical Therapy. Welcome back. Episode 6, Anterior Reach. Lower extremity reaches. See if I can pull this off without the little man stealing this ball or the rocks that I've freshly harvested. Lacrosse ball. Use a baseball, a golf ball. You can use marbles. I love and enjoy being able to facilitate motion, provide patients, provide clients, athletes, people with opportunities to take care of themselves and manage their own kind of healthcare system and activity regimen on a daily basis. As good as our functional manual therapy reaction skills are, FMR skills are, and depending on where the individual is in the rehab, the prehab, the performance enhancement based process, and the stages of learning, I really like to get patients relying upon themselves for feedback as soon as possible and as often as possible. And little tools, being creative with little tools, and the positions that we put the arms, the feet, the body, enable us to do that. So in this episode, I'm going to show you a couple of my really favorite tools that I like to use that really go after mobilizing the tissue in the leg, the hips, that whole kind of thigh compartment, that anterior, that lateral, that medial, and that posterior thigh compartment. And then really gets that foot and that ankle to unlock and to really kind of unload for me. Maverick here's playing with the little purse of rocks that we've gathered. We'll get to the rocks in a second. So without having an actual definitive destination point of cone set up, I'm going to kind of demonstrate to you where I'm going to position everything. Whoa, good catch. So what we're going to do first with the ball. Whoa, come on over here, buddy. Hey, you want to come play with the rocks? So ball-wise, if I'm on my left foot, we're going to drive and facilitate that chain reaction, that co-contraction, the compression, the congruency, the approximation, that decreasing wobble, that good weight-bearing, compressive, kind of suction cup-like, good drill bit fitting to the, whether it's the flathead or the Phillips, kind of end plate on that bolt or that screw, by taking the body down, eccentrically decelerating the resistance of your body weight, overcoming gravity, momentum, inertia, and ground reaction force, and then isometrically stabilizing. So taking the slack out of the joints and the tissue, driving them. We can add some little progressive oscillations here as we kind of roll the ball on out. I like these because they facilitate and guide motion. They force us to focus on what we're doing, to have more of a purpose in what we're doing than to just go ahead and take the foot and then to reach. It takes a lot of motor control and motor development. The root of those guys is, again, kind of that chain reaction. So a lot of great stuff in terms of transformation of the tissue occurs with eccentric and isometric work. Good load, good explode. Good transition phase in between equals consistency and efficiency. We'll take that upper extremity and we'll drive him kind of in the transverse plane to kind of sync on up the dorsiflexion and eversion. We'll go anterior medial with it. Yeah, Daddy needs the ball right now. Daddy needs the ball right now. Can you come play with the rocks? Come play with the rocks a second. We'll go anterior medial. We'll go with a little frontal plane reach here. You're strong, Mav. You're so strong. Be careful. And then we'll go straight medial with it. With the reach. And I can really feel the glutes, that pelvic girdle, the butt musculature get turned on and facilitated to control the bone mobility, the osteokinematics, and the multiple joint motion. We're then going to go posterior medial with the reach. And in a second, I'm going to introduce you to my little teeter totters. We'll go posterior medial with the reach. It can be a little kind of funnel plane reach as we're transitioning. It might not look the same every time that you do it. Challenging things. Little frontal plane. And then now let's go anterior lateral with the right upper extremity reach to facilitate TZ2. Little TZ2. So there's a few of my little secrets. I'm going to introduce you to the little caveman on the background there, kind of howling out. Really getting excited over that, and climbing through the pine trees, which he calls a Christmas tree. Every pine tree is a Christmas tree. Find beauty in everything. The eyes of a kid and seeing their perspective. Great to live life like that. What I'm going to show you now, teeter totter, anterior reach, lower extremity driver, teeter totter motion. Teeter totter is fun, right? So, unfortunately, as fun as it would be for us to play live with each other every day in the backyard, unfortunately, we're not able to do that because of distance and time. Somebody's got to work. We both have to. And what I'd like to do is set patients up. Where they're limited, where they're restricted, let's go ahead and facilitate and drive that. It's like, and we've all been there, it's similar to, I'll use the analogy of putting maybe a few too many clothes in a dresser drawer, that sock drawer or that t-shirt drawer. You just want to get to your favorite t-shirt and you're trying to just kind of pull on the drawer, it doesn't pull. If you're to pull harder, yank the whole dresser over. But no, you're maybe just going to kind of wiggle it back and forth a little bit, kind of push down a little bit, wiggle out, wiggle back in. We're kind of gaining a little bit of motion. Same thing is going to occur kind of with these reaches and kind of this teeter totter. The swing kind of back and forth. We'll look at, what's up, buddy? We're going to play with the JC band in a little bit. We're going to play with the JC band in just a little bit, okay? So we're going to use the ball as a teeter totter to continue to drive and facilitate motion in a plane and or a combination of planes that we need to get somebody to move better. So if someone is limited to dorsiflexion and trying to transition their leg over their foot and the ankle, I'm going to get them in this position right here. I'm going to have them reach on out anteriorly, maybe with both hands or a single arm. And maybe I'm just going to go with a little rock. A little rock, I'll roll it back to me a little bit and then roll it out. Roll it back to me a little bit and roll it back out. So I want to keep going kind of in and out. If I'm limited with maybe, let's say, some eversion and or inversion, I want to play in that side-to-side plane, kind of that frontal plane. Think of that arm on a clock that kind of goes side to side right here. So what I want to do, you know what? Wouldn't it be cool if we took the slack out of the system, kind of in that sagittal plane, that forward and backwards plane? If now I could invert and evert. Left foot pointed nice and forward. And of course I can add my upper extremity as a driver, TZ2, the anterior lateral, anterior medial, TZ1, TZ2, TZ1. I can do those same things when we get that wedge on out. And all the other planes as well, so anterior, anterior medial, medial, posterior medial, and anterior lateral. So let's say now, anterior medial wise, I'm just going to teeter totter it, forward and backwards, anterior to posterior. As I've started to and began taking slack out in the frontal plane, that side to side plane, now I'm facilitating kind of that forward and backward plane, that sagittal plane. And also as we get there, I can, with my upper extremity, just kind of reach or kind of swing as the ball and the foot kind of teeter-totter side to side. So I am everting and inverting, getting some eversion and inversion signifying an action. We're then going to go a little posterior medial. So posterior medial wise, whoops, almost got away from me there. Again, I can kind of do a little sagittal plane thingy here. Driver, a little frontal plane. Kind of oscillatory to get that inversion and that eversion. I can do the same thing anterior lateral now to facilitate TZ2. Progressive oscillations. If you don't have a great skilled physical therapist to do some manual physical therapy on you, this would be a great tool to help you become more dependent upon yourself. We can continue to take up the slack, so kind of that inversion, that lateral rotation of the leg now. Wind the individual up, and I can go a little teeter totter, a little seesaw action. It's kind of like back in the old days, lumberjacks, when they had a guy on either side of the tree kind of pushing back and forth to get through the log. It's a very powerful tool. I want you to go ahead, play around with those guys. Episode number 6 right there, episode number 7, come on up. We're going to get prehistoric with it. We're going to fire in some rocks, some objects, some marbles, etc. to be able to move around, give us good focus and intent, and to work on kind of the intrinsic coordination of the feet and the ankles. Play around with those guys, have fun.